of what I refer to. If it were not so, indeed, history would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon. But did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
Well, I'm sorry to say that they haven't been on good terms for a long time.
That accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I've never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Oh, Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian.
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, there's no reason for me to keep a secret of it to you, dear Gwendolyn. Our little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I fear there might be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid that you're under some misconception. You see, Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
That certainly is very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train. I'm so sorry, dear Cecily, if it is any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolyn, if it were to cause you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have gotten himself into, I shall never reproach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest to me, Miss Fairfax, that I have entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh! Yes, a great many. From the top of the hills quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
Oh, I suppose that's why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden this is, Miss Cardew.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were so many flowers in the country.
Oh, well, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country, if anybody who's anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what the newspapers are calling agricultural depression, is it not? I hear the aristocracy are suffering from it at present. It is quite an epidemic, I've been told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays.
Yeah, that, Miss Fairfax.
You have filled my tea with sugar! And though I asked you most distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake! I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and for the extraordinary sweetness of my character. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which where I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt you were false and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of similar character to make in this neighborhood.
Ernest! Gwendolyn!
My own Ernest! A moment. Are you engaged to be married to that young lady?
The dear little Cecily. No, what could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I knew there had to have been some misunderstanding. Dear Gwendolyn, the man whose arm is at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack?
Oh, my own blood!
A moment. May I ask you, are you engaged to this young lady?
To what young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolyn!
Yes! Good heavens, Gwendolyn! I mean, to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you, you bet.
I thought there might be some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is embracing you now is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief. Oh. But are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
Oh.
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But it certainly is John. It's been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor, wounded Cecily.
My sweet, wronged Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, will you not?
There is just one question I'd like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it's a matter of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present.
Gwendolyn. Cecily. It is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth.